It's really crazy how like this time next year I'm gonna be an RN. Big one, not the little one. Hey y'all, my name is Ariel or Ariel, but y'all can call me Ari. Welcome to my first YouTube video. And normally people do like get to know me and stuff, but I can do that another time or another video. But today we're gonna be talking about something else. So I'm not about to waste y'all's time. I'm gonna tell you what you're really here for, which is something that nobody really tells you about nursing school. So I'm currently in my last year of nursing school, and even though I found this out eventually, I kind of wish I knew about it earlier, and I feel like this will be really helpful for pre-nursing students or if you have any friends that's in a nursing program. So what I'm talking about is a student nurse externship job, and we're going to be breaking it down little by little in this video, basically explaining it in a way I wish was explained to me before I got in the program. But this is a really helpful thing, and I hope this can help any student nurse out there. So in this video, I'm going to be telling you guys what even is a student nurse externship, what's the difference between a student nurse extern versus a student nurse, what's the difference between a student nurse and clinicals, how to apply, and what's the benefits, because why should you even watch this video if it's not going to benefit you in some type of way. And then I'm also going to be telling you guys my experience because I just finished my student nurse externship this summer. Let's get into it. So a student nurse externship is basically a job where you get to work as a student nurse. I know it's basically in the name, but with a student nurse externship, it's usually a summer program where wherever you decide to work or wherever you get hired, they give you a preceptor so that like every time you go to work, you're working with that nurse. And sometimes they might switch you around, but most of the time you should be with that nurse, and then they'll basically help you increase your skills that you've already been learning about in school. It's basically like putting the book into actual hand skills and actually like doing things with your hand, and you have more opportunities to do things because it's just you and your preceptor. It's not like 6 other people in your clinical group. If you're not in the program yet, in the nursing program yet, or you don't know what clinical is, it's basically a time that your school allows for you to go to a hospital, and you're usually with 4 or 5 different classmates. Obviously it depends on what school you go to. I'm speaking from my school and my experience, and basically for a semester, based on what classes you have, you go with those 5 or 6 people to a hospital every week, and you have a preceptor who helps you with skills and helps you give meds, or if they work in that hospital, maybe you'll get to do more. But it really depends on your preceptor, well, your instructor, your clinical instructor, and the hospital you're in, the situations that you're in. But that's basically what clinical is. So I feel like the biggest difference between a student nurse externship and clinical is the fact that you have your own preceptor, you have your own nurse that works with you. During clinical, it's very hard. Shout out to the instructors, they're probably trying their best, but it's very hard to manage 5 to 6 people and help everybody see everything. But during the student nurse externship, you have your nurse who is there for you, who is there to help you learn these things. So you get to see everything, you get to do everything with the nurse, obviously. Let's talk about the benefits for a little bit. Like, why should you even do a student nurse externship? I mean, I kind of told you guys a little bit of stuff earlier, but let's get into like the nitty-gritty. First thing, you get paid. you get paid during a student nurse externship. And the same with like a student nurse job, but like you get paid, like you get money. I basically, in my head, anyways, in my head, student nurse externship is basically clinicals, but you get paid because you're basically doing the same things. Like, you're doing stuff. Yeah. hopefully that was the last one. But yeah, you're basically doing the same thing as clinicals, but you're getting paid for it, which I think clinical is crazy how we're paying to go work at a hospital. That's a discussion for another day. But that's the first thing, you're getting paid. Second thing, the biggest thing for me personally is the skills that you learn. Like, I went into the externship scared to like get medication, like and now I'm leaving obviously with the nurse. I be passing them things out. But small things that you wouldn't think you need to learn, you'll be able to learn in an externship because you have the time and the ability to do that because you have a nurse overseeing what you're doing. So it doesn't even matter what unit you're on either, because everything that you learn, every opportunity that you have, you should take it as an opportunity to learn. Another thing is you really learn how to talk to patients. During clinicals, I remember my first semester, I was so scared to go into a patient's room to take their vitals. I was shaking in my boots, like, girl, please. And it's completely okay because it's like, you've never been in a hospital before. You've never, during your prerequisites, all you do is book work. So when it's time to actually go in there and talk to a patient, you're like, oh my gosh. Like, I actually have to talk to them. So with the externship, every time you go to work, you have to talk to patients, you have to see patients. So you eventually get good at talking to them because either you see what your preceptor is doing and you learn how to navigate the patient's questions, or you just get more comfortable talking to patients because you do it more often. And again, that seems like something that's shouldn't be hard to do, but like anything else in life, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So you get more English. You get less nervous going to a patient's room. You get less nervous to ask them questions or to help them out. It's just, you get more comfortable basically interacting with patients. Finally, I would say another benefit that most people might not think about, or most people might not say out loud, is you start to make connections, whether that's with nurses, whether that's with hospitals. You start to make connections. Well, if you're the type of person to talk, I would say working an externship at a hospital gives you a higher chance of maybe getting hired in that hospital. This is not 100%, don't quote me on that and then be sick if you don't get a job at a hospital. But I feel like, because if you've already been in the hospital, especially if you're working on a unit that you want to work in when you graduate, if you're doing 2+2, like, it puts you up there because you've already oriented to the unit, you've already learned skills. Like, if they see that you're a good potential nurse, they're gonna want to keep you, because if you're a good nurse, then you'll probably be good for the unit. And if they see that you can be helpful, then why get a new hire who needs to be reoriented? But again, y'all don't quote me on that, and then if something happens, you can say, oh, she told. But that's just something I'm gonna put out there. Like, if you're nervous about getting a new grad position, that's definitely one way to put your foot in. And even if it's not in that hospital necessarily, having that experience looks good to any hospital, because they know once you graduate, it wouldn't be your first time actually dealing with patients. So now, if you heard me talk all this talk and you're interested in actually applying to an externship, how do you apply? So honestly, the only thing you really need is to have your CNA license. My school, I'm grateful that after your first semester, they basically give you your CNA license, and they allow us to like go to the nursing board and get our license. Like, we don't have to take an exam, which makes sense because if we're in the program, we're learning skills that CNAs are also learning. But that's just my school. I don't know if other schools do that, but I was really grateful for that. So that's really the only thing you need if you want to get a nurse externship. You also have to be in the program. Most places require you to finish your first semester of nursing school and have your CNA license. You usually don't need any past medical experience or anything like that. Those are the two main things I would say. So once you have those two things and you're ready to apply early. Apply early. Like if you're trying to get a summer externship and your CNA license is loading to be like it's processing, you can apply. Again, it depends on the hospitals where you're trying to work at. You can always call them, I'm pretty sure, to double check if they need you to have your license posted or not. Most of them usually say as long as it's processing and you know it's gonna get posted, then you can apply early, especially if you want to be in a unit that's very specified, like ICU, labor and delivery, or ED. Apply early. And I keep saying apply early. When? Apply around, I would say February, March. If you're trying to get a summer externship, apply around February, March if you're really like on top of it and you really want a specific unit. If not, you can apply whenever you want, to be honest. If you don't really care what unit you work on, you can apply. Like I know people who applied like, what is the month? June, July, and they were still able to find a position. Yeah, it's gonna be harder, but don't feel like if you don't apply early, then you're not gonna be able to get a job. No, that's not what I'm saying. But if you want a better chance of getting a student nurse externship, I would say apply early. I feel like I really didn't even say how to apply. So when you want to apply, go to whichever hospital's website. Same thing as if you were looking for a job. Go to their website, whichever hospital you want to work at. I didn't really use Indeed or anything like that. Go to their hospital websites, careers, student nurse, student nurse externship, and it should pop up. But yeah, once you see it, you hit apply. Usually you don't need to like fill out them questionnaires and stuff. They really just ask for like your resume if you have your CNA license. Yeah. Now let's talk about me. So with my experience, I applied for my CNA license like December, January. I started applying for externships around March. And I got hired on an IMC floor, which is basically in the middle of med-surg and ICU. Like if someone gets downgraded from ICU, they go to IMC. If someone gets upgraded from med-surg, they go to IMC. Or unless it's like too critical and they have to go to the ICU. But basically that's where I was. And I didn't have a single preceptor for like, we're not gonna talk about it. But I had multiple preceptors, and I honestly feel like that made me see what type of nurse I don't want to be and what type of nurse I would want to be. So one thing I really wanted to learn how to do, I don't know why, like I was just like, this is just the one thing I want to be able to do, was like hanging IV bags and like knowing how to use the pump and everything. And that's one of the skills I learned how to do, and I feel so much more confident in doing those things. I just know if I went as a new grad and tried to do all that, I would look crazy. But like that's one of my like favorite skills. Favorite? I don't know. But it was like, that's something I was really happy to learn how to do fluently. Fluently, is that the word? But better. But as for other skills that I learned, I also inserted a Foley. It was on a male. I know they say males are easier to insert Foleys on, but yeah, I inserted a Foley. And I also tried to insert multiple IVs. It didn't work out. But it's okay, because at least I got the opportunity to do so. And I honestly think it's because the patients that we had, a lot of their IVs were weak because obviously they're sick, and if you're sick, your veins aren't going to be as strong as like a healthy person. And I mentioned meds earlier. That's also something I feel like I got very comfortable doing. the nurse that I had most of the time, she was very open to like letting me talk with the patient, telling them what meds I'm about to give them, scanning the medication, like opening the medication, giving it to them, like all those things. And I'm really grateful for her because, again, I got more confident with talking with patients because they'll ask you, what am I getting? Why are you giving me this? So you have to be able to answer them. Or if you don't know, you have to be able to like tell them you don't know without you telling them you don't know, and then going and asking your nurse. Well, your nurse will be there, but asking your nurse like, what does medication do? But yeah, that's another thing I would say was, I also emptying out colostomy bags. Would I say that was fun? No, but it was interesting, it was new, and I feel like I also saw a lot of things, a lot of different patients. It was amazing to like see them heal, like they come in sick and you can see them get discharged the next week or something. So that was something really great that I appreciated. That was nice to see. And then I think the last skill I want to talk about that I learned, it actually happened right before my externship ended, but I learned how to suction a trach patient. Again, it doesn't seem like something that's like hard to do, but it's hard. It's not hard, but it's like, it takes a lot because it's sterile too. Well, like semi-sterile, but you have to know how to maneuver yourself so you don't get the patient infected. And I'm just chit-chatting to y'all. I hope y'all don't mind. This is like a chit-chat. Patients, a lot of patients who are on precautions, it makes working a lot more different, a lot more time consuming. Obviously, you have to keep your patients safe, yourself safe. But I noticed with patients who were on precautions, it's definitely harder because you're more aware of like every single thing you're doing because you don't want to accidentally touch something. Yeah. So that's really all for my experience that like I feel like you guys are probably interested in. But I had a great experience, 10 out of 10. And again, it probably depends on which hospital or who your preceptor is, how your experience is gonna go. But I had a really good experience where I was. So I'm really grateful for that. And I can make another video about interview tips if this gets enough like, you know, I can make a video about interview tips because fun fact, during my interview, my fire alarm, well, my apartment's fire alarm decided to go off. So for literally, no, like I don't, what is the word? Kid you not, 20 minutes out of 30 minutes of my interview, the fire alarm was going off. I still got the position. I don't know how, but I can give you guys interview tips if that's something that y'all are interested in. For anybody who stays to the end, thank you for watching. I love you. What did we say in these? Subscribe, comment, like. But no, like actually, like if you like my content, if you want to see more nursing content, because that's mainly what I'm going to be posting on here, y'all can subscribe and follow me on my journey through my last year of nursing school. It's really crazy how like this time next year I'm gonna be an RN. Big one, not the little one. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Bye.